Good morning. I am Nadia Geber. Over the course of this semester, we have learned a lot about empathy. One of the main ideas that stuck out to me was being able to use empathy to change the world, more specifically, children with autism and using empathy to help them. One common misconception about empathy is people think empathy and sympathy are the same thing, but we have learned throughout this semester that they are not. Empathy is the ability to emotionally put yourself in another person's shoes and experience what they are experiencing, crying when they cry or laughing when they laugh. Sympathy, on the other hand, is feeling pity or sorrow for a person, saying, I'm sorry or I'm here for you. Let's take a little bit more closer look at how empathy is related to autism. As stated by Barron and Cohen in their 2004 article about the empathy quotient, they found that those with empathy scored some of the lowest scores on the test. In another study, using the reading in the minds of the eyes, they found that those with autism had a little bit harder time understanding emotions based off a set of eyes. In Jones' article, he found that those with autism had a harder time being able to feel empathy for others. All of this made me think of a book I once read called Look Me in the Eye. It was about a boy growing up who had Asperger's. He had a very hard time looking at people in the eye. Instead of them understanding, they got mad. They said it was rude and they couldn't understand why he would not look at them. As we all know, Asperger's is a form of autism. It's not as severe, but it's still under the same diagnosis. For those that are a little bit more visual, here's what is known as the autistic umbrella. We can see that autism and Asperger's fall under the same diagnosis. Now we're going to look at how empathy can affect children. We've all heard the saying, boys will be boys and kids will be kids. They're true to a certain circumstance. Kids get mad, they throw toys, they steal toys from other people. It's all part of that growing up experience. But what we have to remember is that kids follow the examples we set for them. So if we do something and they see it, chances are they're going to reciprocate that. Say that you're watching kids play and a child gets hurt in the process. Our first action is to have the child who did the action to go up and say sorry and hope that they never do it again. But say that that child has autism. If you go up to them, they're going to laugh. They don't understand or know what it's like to have that pain and to be able to put themselves in that other person's shoe. Now let's take a second and go back to that example I just gave about the kid laughing. At first, we would be in disbelief. We'd almost probably be a little angered. But going back, we have to understand that they don't have that ability to connect to others like we do. They don't know what it's like to feel another person's pain. They don't have that empathy. But instead of us scolding them or getting on them, we have to let them know just how they hurt our feelings and hurt their friends' feelings. It all starts with us. It's not going to be easy, but if we can learn empathy, then those with autism can learn empathy. It will just take even longer and patience. Leading me to my next slide. Not everyone has empathy. Some lose it, some gain it by learning. Looking back at Nobody Left to Hate, the author talks about practice. We practice everything, our sports, our academics, we can practice our empathy. Learning on how to put ourselves in another person's shoes that are different from us. We can do the same with those with autism. Teaching them how to be empathetic. Teaching them not to laugh or not to do that action that's gonna hurt another friend. Just like kids watch us, those with autism watch us too. We have to be careful of all of our surroundings, and teaching them is the first start. I have changed. I work with a little boy who has autism. Just like anyone else, he has his good days and he has his bad days. There are still times where he'll throw a toy and he'll laugh and giggle at when another peer cries. But instead of getting frustrated, I've taught myself, and I'm in the process of teaching him to not do that, not to throw, and for me not to become upset with him. I have to understand he doesn't fully understand that pain. And I have to teach him that when he does, it puts another person in pain. But not only that, I have to teach the other kids in my classroom. I have to teach them to not be fearful of him, to help show that their pain is his pain too. Ever since I started doing this, the kids have loved to be around him. When he comes in the classroom, he loves to be around us. He's becoming more engaged and more social. One small change can have a big impact on another person, but it starts with us to make that change. That change that I was talking about from nobody left to hate. That change of practice and hoping that other people will see it. Just like I said, empathy can be taught. Can it be taught with those with autism? It hasn't been studied, so the answer is unclear. But helping to show them actions to replicate later on and in society will help show that they can understand some of what we are trying to show them on our feelings and their feelings. One change can motivate another person's change and can have a trickling down effect, kind of like a domino one. Anybody have any questions?